Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to get into our breathwork practice. Now, this is a really important part of the yoga practice because it's really where we're becoming in tune with prana, or the life force energy that animates everything and animates the body. We're going to start off lying down on the foam roller. Now, this is a great way to introduce your breath practice. Eventually we come into a seat, but lying down on the foam roller will help to open up your chest and your shoulders so that the breath can move through better. So before I lie down, I just would like to go over this little concept that we tend to be very shallow breathers because of all the time we spend seated and all the time we're hunched over with poor posture. We tend to just breathe little shallow breaths up into the top of the lungs. As a result, our breathing muscles get really tight, like in the neck, jaw, shoulders, etc. So that's part of the reason why this gets really tight, is because these accessory breathing muscles are overworking. So you're never getting the breath down into here. As a result, these muscles get weak, your diaphragm weakens. So part of the breath practice is also strengthening for your core and for your diaphragm. The diaphragm being our prana pump. It's what moves prana through the body. So we're gonna start off on the back so that we can let all those muscles relax that are so tight and overworked up here. Let the muscles in your neck relax. Let your jaw relax. And then place your hands right here at the sides of your belly with your elbows dropping. And just practice breathing down towards your belly. Relax breathing, shoulders, jaw relaxed, breathing into the belly. Next, we're going to do a specific exercise to help to awaken the transverse, the muscles that surround your core, that I alluded to yesterday. So for this breath, I want you to imagine that you could expand the sides of your rib cage. So as you breathe in, feel here with your thumbs on the bottom back sides of the ribs and your other four fingers on the front, that you could breathe all the way down to fill your rib cage. And then let the breath out. Now, step one, breathe into your belly. Breathe into the rib cage. Pause. Now move the breath down into the belly. Move it up into the rib cage. Back into the belly. Let it out. So that was all while I was holding my breath. Now let me just show you with the shirt off so you could see a little bit better if it was confusing. Okay, so breathe into the belly, rib cage. Now move the breath just into the belly, up into the ribs, back into the belly, let it out. One more round. Belly, rib cage, move it down into the belly, up into the ribs, back into the belly, let it out. Next technique, we're going to create resistance through the transverse as we breathe in. So I want you to take your navel and draw it down into the front of the spine, and then hold it there as you breathe in as deep as you can. Feel the side ribs expanding, holding the navel down, and then let it out. Two more. Hold the navel down, breathe in, Let it out. Last one, hold the navel down. Breathe into the rib cage. And let it out. So we're training these muscles to engage. And this is really important because these muscles tend to be turned off on most everybody. So just by awakening with the breath, being able to hold resistance as you're breathing in, we'll start to train those muscles to get stronger. So now that we've done those little exercises to wake up the transverse, now we're gonna go right into the breath practice where we focus on fully exhaling the air so that we can breathe down into the bottom of the lungs that tends to not get as much movement because we tend to just do the shallow breathing. So we want to have good posture. So you find your lower back curve, you feel your back ribs, you have your neck curve. Breathe all the way down towards your pelvic floor, your belly, your side ribs. Pause at the top, and then let the side ribs draw back in and down. Let the abdomen draw in from the sides, contracting. And then imagine your pelvic floor contracting upwards. Send all the air out without crunching your neck and shoulders. And then breathe back down into the pelvic floor. Expand the belly in all the directions, back, front, sides. Expand the side ribs. Pause at the top without straining and let the breath out. Side ribs draw in, belly draws in, pelvic floor contracts upward. Breathing back down, pelvic floor, belly, side ribs, all the way up into your armpit chest, up into the collarbones, back top ribs. And let it out. Send all the air out. Don't strain, but let the air go all the way. Feel everything draw in. Breathe back into there. Conscious breathing in and out through the nose. Then let go of the breath control and just let the breath do its thing. Then for our last technique, we're gonna finish seated. So have a seat on your block or on your foam roller. And we're gonna practice learning Ujjayi pranayama. So let's make a little constriction in the back of the throat so the breath makes sound like you're fogging a mirror. So you can hold your hand in front of your mouth and pretend like you're fogging a mirror. And then see if you can make that same noise with your mouth closed. And then see if you can do it while you breathe in. All right, cool. So now we're gonna try to do all those techniques, but while seated with the Ujjayi. So this is a very difficult practice and it can take a lifetime to master, but I just want you to start to become aware of what you're aiming for in your pranayama practice. So first, I have good posture. The pelvic floor is parallel to the floor. My rib cage is balanced over, shoulders and head. Now I keep this alignment from the neck down, but then I gently paper towel roll from the backs of the ears to tuck the chin slightly. And then from there, I'm going to breathe down into the pelvic floor, belly. Feel the side ribs lift and spread evenly. Pause at the top and let it out. Feel the side ribs draw in, feel the abdominals, the transverse contract from all four sides, the pelvic floor engage, and then breathe back in. Pause without straining the neck or the shoulders, and breathe out. Breathe in. As you continue to practice, let the sound become very smooth. Then give up the breath control. Tip your head up. And for a moment, just feel the effects of your breath practice. And open your eyes. So today's breath practice was a little more educational than it was really getting into the practice, but I need you to understand all these techniques before we start to add on to the layers. So if you have some more time and you want to continue to practice that, that's cool. But the last thing that I want to say is this idea of becoming in tune with your breath print. So this is an idea that I developed through studying the works of B.K.S. Iyengar and also T.S. Little. This concept of the breath print. So we all have this natural breath print, how the breath moves in our body. And through pranayama, through our breath work, we want to start to kind of like hack that and see if we can modify and create more space for the prana to flow through the body with less resistance. So just by being able to sit upright, then we can allow things to move better. And this is the idea that B.K.S. Iyengar introduced, that by lying over props, that you can start to hack the posture so that things move better. And then the last thing that I want to start to become more and more aware of is your breath print and how your diaphragm is moving. So right here at the base of the rib cage is where the diaphragm is. The diaphragm contracts downward as you breathe in to draw air into the lungs, and it releases upward as you breathe out. The pelvic floor moves with the diaphragm. However, the pelvic floor contracts upward as you breathe out. And that's where you get the idea, like in Pilates or to engage your core, to on the exhalation to feel everything squeeze and the pelvic floor contract. And that strong contraction at the end of the exhalation is when your core naturally engages. So back to the diaphragm, you want to feel that there is movement through all four sides of your rib cage. And what happens is we tend to get like stuck on one side. We don't really get as good a movement. And through the yoga practice, we start to open up and increase the diaphragm's ability to move without restriction so that your breath print starts to change over time. And so as you practice throughout this month and start to become more aware of like, okay, where I'm tight in my ribs, where my ribs don't move well. And then when we come to the breath practice, you're really going to focus on allowing all four sides of your rib cage to move out to the sides and up, and then to draw back in and down. Now just remember your muscle's health is its ability to contract and release all the way. So if it's not moving, contracting all the way down, it's not going to be able to lift and spread all the way and release and open up when you go to breathe in. Okay, so that's my whole spiel on the breath print training. And that's a concept that I want you to start to become more and more comfortable with throughout this course. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Let me know below if you're able to feel the movement of the rib cage, and we'll get more in tune with that. See you next time.